So we'll continue. When you were on that journey you talked
Uh-huh.
about the fire community,
Hmm.
but when you were looking at like podcasts and books and things of that nature, were there any in particular where you're like, this was like the one that just gave me an aha moment?
Well, Journey to Launch podcast, I love Jamila. Like I was there with her from like day one when she started. And so the guests that she brought on were like really eye opening to me. And then very early on, like Clever Girl Finance podcast and Choose FI was like the one that was like, man, like when it came to investing, when it came to like credit cards, like understanding credit cards, like all that kind of stuff. Like that's where I started to everything like started to really click. So those were the three main podcasts that I listened to during that time that were like really eye opening.
Okay, we'll link to
Yeah.
all those in the show notes.
Hmm.
Along your journey, you did talk about the fact that you started investing for yourself. You started a
Hmm.
529 for your girls. You do great content about how you've invested for them.
Hmm.
How do you start to build the confidence to start to like bring other people into your world and show them what you're doing?
That is why how my platform started actually. I started this platform just for my friends. I have these friends I've been friends with since middle school and high school. And most of us have girls. Like there's a couple boys sprinkled in there. But so we always have like these sleepovers. So they're at my house. And I was like, I'm learning these things with my money. Is when I was like paying off my debt. I was like, I'm learning these things about my money. And I really think like these are things that we should know. One thing I wanted to mention, I wanted to go back to like when I started actually like working on my money, I was just like, this is not that hard. Like, why do we overcomplicate things? Like when I said I needed like a PhD level understanding, I was like, no, this is just like basic stuff. It's just not taught to us. So in knowing that, I told my friends, this is just something I really want us all to understand and be able to teach our daughters, right? And so I was like, if I like put everything out, because I don't want to repeat myself, if I put it like on a platform like Instagram, which was relatively newer at that time and definitely not used for this kind of stuff that much, I was like, if I put it on Instagram or a blog, would you guys like read it? And they were like, yeah. And so I just started my Instagram to share what was going on in my life and the things that I was doing with my friends. And then it just started getting picked up by different platforms. And like people were like, this is crazy. Like you're paying off this debt. And then it just took off from there organically. Like that wasn't my intention, but it was always to share. And so my platform is really just like sharing information, like sharing like what I'm doing and showing you that this girl who's been through all of this stuff can do this. And if I can do this, you can too. And so I just feel like I was born from like, I was always told like, each one teach one. If you learn something, you share it with somebody else. And also, I learned that if you can teach something back to someone else, it solidifies the knowledge in your brain. And so that's what I do on my platform.
Okay, well, tell us a little bit about the details of, because
Hmm.
you have different offerings, you teach
Hmm.
courses,
Hmm.
classes. Fill us in about the details of what you offer.
So on my platform, basically, is a lot of free games. So I have a podcast that has over 300 episodes. I have like I break down like what I do for my kids, how I've done it, but people always ask if they can work with me. So I have like ebooks that you can just download that show you like the steps that I take to invest in what I invest in for myself and then for my kids. And then I have a course where it's a 6 month program where you have access to me and we go through budgeting, investing, paying down debt, and setting up your path to financial freedom. So I do that with people. I just opened that up last month. So yeah, that's how I work with people.